Imagine this: you've stood at the precipice of profound change, felt the subtle tremor of your own evolving power, and perhaps, unknowingly, tapped into an ancient, almost forgotten wellspring of feminine mystique. There is a truth whispered not in words, but in the silent language of the soul. A truth Carl Jung himself might have recognized as the dance between archetypes, the magnetic pull of shadow and light. It speaks of a phenomenon as old as humanity itself, yet as fresh as the morning dew, the undying chase of a man captivated by a woman's detachment. This isn't about manipulation, nor is it a game of calculated withdrawal. This is far deeper, far more primal. It's the raw, unfiltered psychology of attraction, rooted in the very fabric of our unconscious minds. When a woman truly embodies detachment, not as indifference, but as a profound inner sovereignty, she ignites something elemental within the masculine psyche. It is the unyielding pursuit, the relentless fascination, born from a place where ego meets its limit and the soul yearns for what it cannot easily grasp. Consider the man, steeped in his own narratives, often driven by the external, by conquest, by visible achievements. His ego, the conscious center of his personality, is perpetually seeking validation, confirmation of its own strength and worth. But what happens when he encounters a woman whose sense of self is not contingent upon his approval, whose inner world is so rich and complete that his absence creates no void? He is confronted with something profoundly unsettling, yet undeniably alluring. Her detachment becomes a mirror reflecting his own unfulfilled desires, his own unintegrated shadow. He sees not a challenge to be overcome, but a mystery to be unraveled, a depth to be explored that far surpasses the superficialities of typical courtship. Carl Jung spoke of the anima in man, the unconscious feminine principle that resides within his psyche. This anima yearns for connection, for wholeness, for the very qualities that a woman embodying spiritual sovereignty radiates effortlessly. When she is truly detached, not cold, but deeply rooted in her own being, she embodies the very essence of this elusive anima. She is the priestess of her own temple, unburdened by the need for external validation. Her worth an intrinsic, unshakable truth. This intrinsic value, this unshakable peace, is a profound challenge to the masculine ego, which often defines itself through acquisition and control. He might find himself drawn into a chase he never intended. A pursuit driven not by fleeting desire, but by a deeper, almost spiritual hunger. This is where the forbidden male psychology truly comes into play. For many men, the concept of a woman utterly complete within herself, unswayed by his charm or even his withdrawal, is both terrifying and utterly irresistible. It shatters his preconceived notions of power dynamics, forcing him to confront his own anxieties, his own fears of abandonment, and perhaps, even his own lack of individuation. This emotional mystery deepens with every layer of her self-possession. She does not play games, she simply exists, radiant in her authenticity. Her silence is not a tactic but a profound quietude. Her gaze, when it falls upon him, holds the wisdom of one who has journeyed within, a knowing that transcends superficial interaction. And in this knowing, in this serene self-containment, lies the genesis of his undying chase. He is not chasing her physical presence, but the profound sense of wholeness she represents, a reflection of the unintegrated parts of himself he subconsciously yearns to reclaim. This is the ancient, potent allure of the spiritual feminine, not fragile, but robust, not seeking, but radiating. It is a force that dismantles the fortress of his ego and calls to the wild, untamed corners of his soul. This relentless pursuit is often misunderstood, seen through the narrow lens of typical relationship dynamics. But what Carl Jung reveals is far more intricate. It's a profound inner journey for the man, triggered by the woman who embodies her complete self. His chase isn't merely about winning her affection, it's about confronting his own shadow, those unacknowledged aspects of his personality, his fears, his insecurities, and his unintegrated masculine and feminine principles. When he encounters a woman deeply rooted in her spiritual femininity, her presence acts as a powerful catalyst. She doesn't need to do anything specific, her very being, unburdened by external validation, subtly highlights his own dependencies. He begins to see the projections he has cast onto countless others, the expectations he has placed on relationships to complete him. Her detachment, born not from indifference but from internal fulfillment, forces him to look inward. He is faced with the uncomfortable realization that the void he is trying to fill with her attention might, in fact, be an internal one. Consider the concept of the ego in this dynamic. The ego thrives on external validation, on the familiar patterns of pursuit and capture. But the woman who has embarked on her own journey of individuation, who is integrating her conscious and unconscious aspects, presents a formidable challenge to this ego-driven mechanism. She is not easily defined, categorized, or possessed. Her emotional freedom creates a dynamic tension. She is not fleeing, but simply standing still in her own power. And it is this stillness that creates the irresistible magnetic pull. The man, accustomed to clear objectives, finds himself in uncharted territory, drawn by a force he cannot intellectualize or conquer. This often leads to a profound internal struggle within him. He might find himself grappling with obsession, not in a pathological sense, but in an all-consuming mental preoccupation. He revisits conversations, analyzes her every subtle cue, and tries to decipher the secret to her self-possession. This mental loop is his ego's desperate attempt to regain control, to fit her into a familiar framework. Yet, the more he tries to grasp, the more elusive she becomes. Not because she is deliberately elusive, but because her essence cannot be contained by his externalized desires. The silence from such a woman is not a weapon, it is a testament to her inner peace. She does not feel compelled to fill every silence, to explain every decision, or to seek reassurance. This silence can be unsettling for the man accustomed to verbal cues and emotional feedback. It forces him to listen, not to her words, but to the whispers of his own psyche. In that void of external noise, his own inner world becomes louder, more demanding. He is compelled to confront the very parts of himself he has long suppressed, his vulnerability, his need for genuine connection beyond superficial attraction, and his longing for true depth. This challenging encounter ultimately sets the stage for his own potential shadow work. Her presence, her unwavering authenticity, inadvertently exposes his unintegrated parts, the parts of himself that he has disowned or hidden, his insecurities, his capacity for genuine empathy, his longing for a profound connection, are brought to the surface. He begins to project these unmet needs onto her, seeing in her the qualities he unconsciously desires to cultivate within himself. The pursuit, therefore, transforms from a mere romantic chase into a symbolic quest for his own wholeness, a desperate yearning for the integration she embodies so effortlessly. This dynamic aligns deeply with Stoic philosophy, though not in a way that suggests emotional suppression. Instead, it speaks to the power of inner tranquility and self-mastery. When a woman cultivates a profound internal locus of control, like Marcus Aurelius advocating for an unshakable inner citadel, she becomes impermeable to external fluctuations, including the desire for another's validation. This internal strength, this quiet confidence, is what truly captivates the man. He witnesses a freedom he instinctively yearns for, a detachment from the very emotional turbulence that often defines his own struggles. The spiritual femininity at play here is not some ethereal, unreachable ideal, it is the grounded, embodied wisdom of a woman who has done her own shadow work. She has confronted her inner demons, integrated her vulnerabilities, and embraced her authentic self, flaws and all. This process of deep self-acceptance creates an energetic field around her, an aura of quiet strength that resonates deeply with the masculine unconscious. For the man, this resonance feels like a homecoming, a recognition of something ancient and true. He is drawn not to her neediness, but to her wholeness. This dynamic often precipitates a period of profound introspection for the man. A phase that can be fraught with regret. He may find himself re-evaluating past relationships, recognizing how his ego-driven pursuits and projections ultimately led to superficial connections. The woman's unshakable self-worth illuminates his own past tendencies to seek validation externally, to chase what he believed would complete him. This regret is not a weakness, but a crucial step in his own path toward individuation. It signals a dawning awareness, a recognition that true fulfillment lies not in conquest, but in connection with something deeper, both within himself and with a woman who mirrors that depth. His undying chase is less about possessing her and more about understanding the source of her profound inner peace. He witnesses her emotional freedom, her detachment from outcomes, her capacity to be fully present without being consumed by external circumstances. This observation sparks a profound longing within him for a similar state of being. He may try to intellectualize it, to strategize his approach. But the essence of her allure lies beyond the grasp of his logical mind. It's an energetic frequency, a vibration of authenticity that calls to the deepest, most spiritual aspects of his own being. Consider the wisdom of Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus. They taught the profound power of focusing on what is within our control and releasing attachment to what is not. When a woman embodies this principle, her emotional landscape is not dictated by a man's attention or lack thereof. Her happiness, her self-worth, her very identity is internally generated. This self-mastery, this profound independence, is precisely what makes her so compelling. For the man, accustomed to being the architect of his emotional environment, her serene self-sufficiency presents an intriguing paradox. He sees in her a liberation he instinctively desires for himself, a freedom from the constant push and pull of external forces. This pursuit, therefore, becomes an unexpected pathway to his own growth. He is compelled to shed layers of his ego, to confront his insecurities, and to develop a more integrated sense of self. The woman, by simply being, acts as a profound teacher. She doesn't lecture, she simply reflects. Her silence isn't passive, it's potent, creating a space for his own realizations to emerge. Her detachment isn't coldness, it's a boundary that protects her sacred inner world. A boundary that paradoxically invites him to develop a deeper respect, not just for her, but for himself. The attraction is therefore not merely physical or superficial, it is an archetypal pull. It is the masculine unconscious reaching out to the embodied feminine principle, seeking balance and integration. It is the ego, at first resistant, then slowly yielding to the soul's deeper wisdom. This dynamic transcends mere courtship and moves into the realm of spiritual awakening, a journey where both individuals, wittingly or unwittingly, are propelled towards greater wholeness. This deep interplay of attraction and resistance is where the concept of trauma and self-worth psychology becomes vital. Many individuals, both men and women, carry unhealed wounds that manifest as a desperate need for external validation. A woman who has consciously or unconsciously begun to heal these wounds, who has built an unshakable foundation of self-worth from within, naturally radiates an energy of completeness. She is not seeking, not yearning for someone else to fill her emptiness. This self-contained energy is profoundly alluring to a man, particularly one whose own sense of worth may be externally driven. He senses that her life does not revolve around him. And this realization, initially perhaps frustrating to his ego, eventually becomes the very source of his fascination. He cannot fix her, because she is not broken. He cannot save her, because she is not in distress. This forces him to confront his own savior complex, if one exists, and to reconsider his approach to relationships from a place of genuine connection rather than perceived rescue. Her wholeness prompts him to examine his own fragmented parts, often leading him back to his own unaddressed shadow material. The forbidden male psychology here lies in the unacknowledged yearning for a partner who is not just a complement, but an equal and sovereign being. In a world that often encourages superficial connections and transactional relationships, the presence of a woman who embodies true inner freedom is revolutionary. She represents a path to a deeper form of intimacy, one built on mutual respect and individual completeness rather than codependency. His undying chase is, in essence, a quest for this higher form of connection. Even if he cannot articulate it consciously, her detachment is a protective shield, not of coldness, but of self-preservation. It is a boundary that declares her inner world sacred and inviolable. This quiet assertion of self-worth is a powerful lesson for him. He learns, perhaps for the first time, that true intimacy flourishes not from endless pursuit, but from mutual respect for individual space and autonomy. Her unshakable sense of self-worth becomes the mirror in which he sees his own potential for emotional resilience. The mystery surrounding such a woman is not manufactured, it is inherent. It stems from the fact that her deepest motivations and joys are sourced from within, not from external circumstances or relationships. She is an enigma because her validation comes from her own soul, not from the applause of others. This makes her unpredictable in the most liberating way, constantly challenging his assumptions and forcing him to adapt, to evolve, and to grow beyond his comfort zone. This journey for the man often culminates in a profound shift. His initial obsession transforms into a deeper admiration. His ego's pursuit gives way to a soul's yearning for genuine connection. He recognizes that the value she holds is not something to be acquired, but something to be understood and honored. He moves from wanting to possess her to wanting to align with her, to meet her on the elevated plane of her self-mastery. This is the true power of spiritual femininity. It doesn't demand. It inspires. It doesn't cling. It radiates. And in its radiation, it ignites the masculine spirit to seek its own truth, to integrate its own shadows, and to achieve its own version of wholeness. The profound culmination of this journey is not just about the man's transformation, but about the liberated state of the woman who triggered it. She stands as a testament to the power of emotional freedom, a state achieved not by avoiding feelings, but by deeply feeling and integrating them. She has transcended the need for external validation, understanding that her inherent worth is immutable, untouched by the fluctuations of another's attention or approval. This is the essence of true self-worth psychology, a deeply internalized knowing that she is enough, simply by existing. Her detachment, therefore, is not a lack of care, but an abundance of self-care. It's the wisdom of knowing when to hold space and when to release, when to engage and when to retreat into her own sacred solitude. This profound inner peace is her most potent magnet. It is a state of being that speaks volumes without uttering a single word, inviting the masculine to rise to meet her, not to diminish her. This inner quietude, this stoic calm in the face of external storms, is precisely what differentiates her from those who chase or cling. Like the unyielding strength Seneca spoke of, she remains serene, regardless of the chaos around her. This journey for both individuals often leads to a profound sense of rebirth. For the man, it's a rebirth of his authentic self, unburdened by the ego's endless demands and the shadows of unaddressed trauma. He learns to appreciate, truly appreciate, a woman who is not a reflection of his desires but a complete universe unto herself. He learns that true attraction is not about possession, but about reverent admiration for another's sovereign spirit. His undying chase evolves into a deeper understanding, a recognition that the ultimate prize is not capturing her, but cultivating the same inner freedom she so effortlessly embodies. For the woman, this dynamic reaffirms her path of individuation. It validates her commitment to her own growth, her shadow work, and her embrace of spiritual femininity. She stands firm in her power, radiating a quiet confidence that inspires respect and genuine connection. She no longer fears regret, for her choices are rooted in self-knowledge, not external pressure. Her path is one of continuous unfolding, a testament to the profound strength found in vulnerability and self-acceptance. Ultimately, The secret language of desire speaks of a deeper truth, that true connection blossoms not from neediness or pursuit, but from two whole individuals choosing to share their autonomous worlds. The woman who embodies her spiritual feminine power, who understands the profound impact of her detachment, is not playing games. She is living her truth. And in doing so, she becomes an irresistible force. Not because she demands it, but because she simply is. She teaches, through her very being, that true freedom lies in being complete within oneself, unattached to the outcome, yet open to profound, authentic connection. The woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she chooses.